Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's DLloyd, and we are here starting off a brand new series here on the channel, NCAA Football 14, using the college revamped mod, and we are going to be taking over Nebraska and the Nebraska Cornhuskers, man. Hopefully, we could bring them back to glory here in this dynasty. Now, we are going to be doing things a little bit differently this time compared to my usual style. These videos are going to be a little bit shorter, but because of everything I have going on, I want to make sure that I could produce content consistently and keep them entertaining. And I think by having them a little bit shorter, we can get right to the good stuff of the videos, and I could put these out on a way more consistent basis. So that is what we're going with here. Hopefully you guys do enjoy this and you guys are entertained by this series, because we should have a ton of fun. As you see, I'm going through the setup here. I had to get rid of bowl tie-ins. I know it's not realistic. I'm just not a fan of bowl tie-ins. So everything's at large. Best teams getting the best bowl games. Simple, right? That's pretty much my mindset when it comes to that. Now, with the dynasty options, we're going to make sure that the progression rate is on slowest. So we take our time getting good before we are an elite coach. Everything else is going to be on default. Now, we do have a mod when it comes to the gameplay and the sliders, so you will see that here in a second. So it may be a little different. I don't know if you could recreate that on consoles or not. You could try it, but these are the settings that we are rocking with for now. As you see, 255 offensive pass interference, 243 defensive pass interference. Like I said, it's a mod I got, man, and it's a cool mod that makes the game tough and enjoyable to play. You see me move the minutes down to 7. I have moved that back to 8. So the first game that you will see in the next episode will actually have 8-minute quarters instead of the 7 minutes that I did there. But all of the sliders are the same. If I ever make a change or update to a different gameplay mod, I will let you guys know. I believe it is CR Gator. I'm hoping I'm not messing up the name. That is the gameplay mod I'm using. So if you're on the revamped Discord server and you're on PC, of course, you could download that, and that is the exact gameplay mod that I am using. So like I say, for the team, we're using Nebraska. They are a 4-star team, but with some of the recruiting mods we're using and the recruiting restrictions that we're placing on ourselves, hopefully it makes this a little bit of a challenge, because we do have quite a few house rules that we're going to be using when it comes to recruiting that we will talk about here in just a second. As for the coaching tree, like I said, we're starting off at level 1, slowest. We are not going to be doing any scouting at all when it comes to the recruits, so there's no point in putting any of our upgrades there. As for our coordinators, they are pretty bad. Nobody wants to work for a new coach. I get it. So we don't have good coordinators, so nothing special there. Now, taking a look at the depth chart, some of these players are already redshirted. I'm going to leave those players redshirted. I'm not a Nebraska fan in real life, so I don't know if there's a reason why some of these players are redshirted, and I'm not going to get into it. So this is our roster. We only have 2 quarterbacks going into the season, with Casey Thompson being the starter, and then Purdy will come in if something goes left and he has to come in. Our running backs, I don't plan on running too much, but Anthony Grant will be the starter for us there. Of course, Allen is redshirted, so Gabe Irvin will be the number 2 running back in our system. A very pass-heavy system. Hopefully you guys like the playbook that is modded as well that we're going to be using in this series. We have a 73 speed wide receiver. And he's going to be our number 1. He's going to be our number 1 guy. So let that sink in there, man. We're going to go ahead and roll with Belt as well. A faster guy. He will be a starter for us. I'll show you guys our depth chart as well at the very end of the video. Tight ends is going to be a very focal point of our offense, especially a receiving tight end. We will use a blocking tight end at times, but we definitely want that receiving threat at the tight end position. So we're going to have to try to go through and recruit and get a tight end in as well. Our offensive line is interesting. Left tackle, we're going to have to roll with Urza there. We don't have a left guard. Our left guard is redshirted. So it doesn't exist. So we're going to have to, swap around some players here and there to get our offensive line where it needs to be. And then we have a 40 speed right guard. This man is never pulling. He is never moving. That's probably not the ideal spot for him, but I'm going to leave the original guys in their original positions. Once we start bringing in our own guys, that's when we'll start playing around and moving guys But yeah, 40 speed right guard is pretty bad in my opinion. Looking at our defensive ends, this is a strong point for our defense. A lot of talent there. Even at the defensive tackle position, a lot of talent there. So we're looking good there. Now, we are running a 4-2-5, which means we don't need a left outside linebacker. Nebraska runs one in real life. They don't have a left outside linebacker. We're not going to recruit a left outside linebacker. So we only have a 2 linebacker system, middle and right outside linebacker. See, our middle linebackers look fine. We do have a good right outside linebacker in Reamer, but he's gone at the end of the season. So we have to go through and bring in another outside linebacker future years. Corners, pretty much the same thing. Most of our cornerbacks are older except for Hartzog. He should be solid for us, a freshman, 88 speed. Hopefully he could grow to be a lockdown cornerback for us. I'm not going to complain with a 77 overall true freshman, right? So this is a position that we want to get better at, but we have a lot of senior leadership here that can hopefully come in and do the job. Free safety position is solid. Strong safety is what I love because in that 4-2-5, you're going to play 2 strong safeties. So we're going to have Buford and we're going to have Gifford out there, man. 90 speed, hopefully running around making plays. I'm excited, man. This team is not terrible, but we're going to try to make Nebraska what they once were, a powerhouse in the collegiate football world. Not so much anymore. They always kind of get people's hopes up, but hey, man, new leadership here. Hopefully we can turn things around. So we will be using a recruiting mod. This is the default recruiting class. You see a lot of athletes. We are number 1 on a lot of players' lists because we're a 4-star team. Of course, all these top 10 players will want to come here, right? So we do have a mod that will change it and will make things harder, and we'll have a bigger variance, right? We'll have some players coming in at maybe a 90 overall, high 80 overall as a true freshman. We'll have a lot of buzz in the top 100 as well to to mix things up, especially because we're not going to be scouting these guys, so we don't know who's going to be good and who's going to suck. So after applying the mod, this is now the top 150. You see the top 10 is different. We still do have a top 10 player, and we are first on their list. We don't have a left guard, so we are celebrating the fact that we do have a player that is interested in coming in, but you do see a change, and you see the player locks way different. 91% for the number 1 player in the country, and you see we have some players with 100% player lock to start things off. So it's not, let me wait, add a good player later on in the season and steal him. Some guys going to have you locked out from the jump. Like, I don't want to go to Nebraska. There's no way we're not doing this. And they don't have as many athletes in the class as well, which I also think more realistic. So we added 35 recruits to the recruiting board. Like I said, we are not going to be scouting. Now, for whatever reason, I have all of the auto recruiting off. It did scout the top 10. I think it was 10% going into week 1, or top 20 players we had going into week 1. I don't know why or how to change that, but me physically, I'm never going to hit that scout button on these players. And that should make it where we may have an idea of a player based off of their grades, but we don't 100% know until signing day. That should make this more entertaining, at least in my opinion. So that's what we're going to rock with. As we get deeper into recruiting, we will maybe even have full episodes going over our recruiting board, but not too much to talk about here. Some of the main positions we wanted to go after was quarterback, a bunch of receivers. We need to get a guard. We need to get a cornerback and even a kicker. That's like our main positions of need going into recruiting, but not too much to show right now. Like I said, we're not scouting these guys. So, only so much we could deem from that. But I do think and hope that it makes recruiting more enjoyable, and it's not just as we get better, we're going to automatically get better players, and we're going to be a super team. Hopefully we can have misses in there and make things more fun. Or we have gems, guys. Maybe there are 3-stars that we didn't expect to be good, and they come in and they are instant, contributors to the team. One of the two is going to take place, man, but hopefully you guys enjoy it. That's kind of my idea, to spice things up a little bit with recruiting, because we have been playing this game for so long. We know all the tricks and how to get the best players in there, man. But we do have a top 10 player in Andy Gustafson, and I hope this kid is not a bust and he could come in and contribute, because we do not have a left guard and we need one, and he could play that role. Well, technically we have a redshirt left guard, but you guys know what I mean. We need a guard. He could come in and play that role for us. Now, taking a look at redshirt players, like I said, there was already players redshirted by default, so we did not do anything. But this is just going through the roster so you guys can see who was redshirted. We did not add or take away any of the players. Like I said, there's a reason why they're redshirted. Maybe this is what they went with in real life. So we're going to let that rock for season 1. Now, of course, next season we will do our own red shirts going forward, but we're going to let this rock the way it currently is. The next thing we're going to take a look at is our schedule. I only made one change. I like the computer kind of doing the schedule for us, but I do not like FCS opponents. So week 4 against Georgia, that is the game that we changed. It was an FCS opponent, but we're going to be hosting Georgia. So we have 4 straight home game or 5 straight home games. We don't know what a bus is or an airplane is because we're not traveling for quite some time. It's going to be until we get into our Big Ten conference games that we start traveling. And of course, later on in the year, we'll have that big game at Penn State that we're going to be on the road for, a rivalry game there, man. But that's pretty much everything for this episode. Next episode, we will be week 1, game 1. Gameplay will start there, man. But this is to kind of get you guys just familiar with the team, familiar with how I kind of want to set these videos up. And hopefully you guys are entertained. You see here on the preseason polls, we are down. I believe we were 42. You're going to see here in a second as I scroll down, we were like 42 coming into the season. So hopefully we can improve upon that. 47. I was close. 5 off. I was close. 40 something is what we were. So Nebraska being 47, hopefully we could move up the ranks there. But this should be a good series. This should definitely be a good series. I went to look at Heisman, but I forgot there's no point in looking at that or preseason All-Americans with the rosters because none of it is going to translate. It's going to be like a kicker or something being on the Heisman list, man. This is the depth chart. Like I said, there are a few tweaks, but nothing serious. Mainly our wide receiver position because I have guys exactly where I want them. Our number 3 guy is pretty much our primary receiver. Our number 2 guy is our speed guy. Our number 1 guy is our possession guy. So you see, I kind of ranked it accordingly there as to where I want those guys. But other than that, that's everything, man. That's everything for this episode. If you guys are excited, please do me a favor. Go ahead and leave this video a like, man. Subscribe if you haven't already. It has been a while, but I'm excited to be back, and I'm excited to get these out as regularly as possible, man. Especially we don't have Madden right now. It's the only game we got, bro. So let's go ahead and knock out as many of these as we can, man. But like I said, hopefully you guys did enjoy it. Leave this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already. It's DLloyd. I'm gonna see y'all next time. Peace.